The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert, and today we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Before we get into today's episode, I do want to say happy Pride Month to anyone in the audience that celebrates Pride Month. Today, Jacky and I are going to be sharing some fun facts about Leamington Caves, Fantasy Caves, and Crystal Caves, which, if you remember from our first episode, Jacky and I shared some footage of our visit from Crystal Caves. I do want to give a shout out to the staff over there at Crystal Caves for those amazing tours. And if you do want to take a tour of Crystal Caves, do make sure you check out caves.bm to get more information and book your tickets. First, we're going to start this episode with our feel good moment of the day, which is, do you think our Gombe Warriors can win this match today against the Cayman Islands? And I do want to say good morning to Sean Smith, who is in here watching us live this morning. Thank you for joining us once again, Sean Smith. So I forgot what I just said. The game against the Cayman Islands this evening is happening. I think this is the last game in the first round. So do let us know in the chat if you think that our team will be able to secure a win. I do know that yesterday on the Daily Hour, they talked about the criticism of the football team who lost against Suriname last week. Let us know in the comments section what you think is going to happen in the game tonight. Jack, what are your thoughts?
So, I know let's start off with the criticism from last week. So last week I was actually sitting outside at a bar watching in anticipation, so excited. And I know we lost poorly, but our players, most of them haven't been able to train. So, you sum it up to the COVID, just holding our people back. But I do have some colleagues that do live in Suriname. They're from Suriname. They rep Suriname. And they were excited for their win and their victory. So, congratulations to them. But they were talking about how they were able to get out and train a lot more. So that's from them. So I guess it was better for them and not as good for us. But talking about tonight, Cayman Islands, I hope we win. I want to say yes. So my answer is yes. I think we'll pull out a good, W. We got some rust off last time, and hopefully the guys pull through and they go out with high spirits. I know that Bermuda and Good Day Bermuda and the Daily Hour and everybody's behind them, cheering them on and supporting them. So.
Absolutely. We do have a comment here from Kiwane who says, I just want to encourage them. Hopefully they come through with the win. Absolutely. They do need our encouragement and positive vibes, right? Because they're playing overseas. They're not playing at home. So they don't have that home advantage like Suriname had. They had, I'm pretty sure that Suriname had like less spectators in the stands, but they still had like their people there at home. So they have that advantage over us. And to Jacky's point, the players haven't been able to train as a collective in months. Some of them since last football season on the island, and a lot of them do use our domestic league to kind of keep them fit and keep them trained. And so that was a part of the conversation yesterday on the Daily Hour as well, just like talking about those different challenges that they've had to overcome and how they were still able to perform. I know for me personally, I wouldn't have been able to continue that level of professionalism and athleticism after not being able to train like that.
It's hard. And it actually will lead into our conversation on Thursday, but I'm kind of semi out of retirement. So I've been playing in a tournament this past week, and I haven't played a tournament. Mine's a little different. I haven't played a tournament in almost 2 years now. So I didn't play anything last year because I couldn't. COVID, I had an accident, and I'm still in recovery. And then this year I was just like, you know what, let me just go see what my body can do. And I've been cramping for the past 2 days. It hurts to laugh. So I can only imagine what these guys are doing. That is a totally different caliber of competition. Mine's more recreational, I guess you can say, because there's nothing on the line. Whereas these guys are playing for our country. You know, the camaraderie might be a little bit off because you haven't been able to hang around and have the banter, you know, internally with your team and your coaches. So the relationship might not be as fluid as it used to be. So you're relearning how everybody moves on the court. Everybody's constantly changing. So I hope that they've spent time with each other just to build that bond back up again, and that they at least have fun. If you're not going to win, at least make sure you leave it that W of having an enjoyable time to get back out there and compete and be able to say that you're representing your country, representing your family, carrying that flag with a lot of pride, and they have, you know, a great experience while traveling.
Absolutely. If you're just joining the conversation, do let us know in the comments if you think Bermuda will be able to beat the Cayman Islands this evening in, I believe, their last match of the first round for the World Cup qualifiers. They are playing for the 2020, or playing to qualify for the FIFA World Cup 2022, which is going to be in Qatar. Last Friday, they did not get the result that they wanted. However, they still showed up. They still played to the best of their ability. And we do have to continue to send them good vibes. If you're just joining the conversation, do let us know in the comments if you have any words of inspiration to send to that football team so that they know that their island and nation is behind them. I know it's going to be interesting, right? Because we're playing against the Cayman Islands, and we get compared to the Cayman Islands in just about every other aspect of our existence, right? Whether it's related to taxes, whether it's related to how island life is over there in the Cayman Islands. So I would like us to win, just so that we can finally say, okay, put that conversation to rest. When it comes to sports, we beat them. When it came to football, we were able to overcome them and do a little bit better than them in that respect, so that that whole comparison trap that we get into with the Cayman Islands can be put to bed. That's my hope with this W.
That's pressure.
Well, you know, I mean, they're playing on the national stage.
Yeah, it's good pressure there. It's good pressure. That's motivation. You know, that's separate us. We're
absolutely
better when it comes to football.
Absolutely. So it's Tuesday. Jacky and I are going to be talking about travel experiences on the island of Bermuda. And last week we shared with you a snippet of our adventure at Crystal Caves. And so today we're going to dive a little bit deeper, pun intended, into the cave conversation and talk a little bit around the different fun ideas or fun facts about caves. I'm going to let Jack take it away.
Yay! Okay, so as we talked about last week on our first episode ever of Good Day Bermuda, we talked about how we went to Crystal Caves and we went on a tour with the amazing Matthew Limes, and how, you know, we had to walk down 88 steps to see all these stalactites and stalagmites and how they connected and formed columns. This week we got to talk about our experience at Fantasy Caves with our good friend, our tour guide, Ronald James. Now, Ronald James was very theatrical. He was very mesmerizing with how he delivered the tour to us. And so if you haven't been to Fantasy Caves, what I do want to ask the audience is, since last week, have you gone to Crystal Caves yet? Or have you made plans? So yes or no in the comments. But Fantasy Caves was also known, Terri, do you remember what it was originally called?
To be honest, I was just so mesmerized by Uncle that I really didn't pay attention to that part of the story.
So I remember him saying it used to be called Wonderland when they first tried to open it up. Yeah. So when we walked down 83 steps.
Well, we actually have someone who had did know as well. Michael Anthony Musson did know that it was originally called Wonderland, and Nicholas Butterfield as well as Kivane Haynes have not been to make their plans to Crystal Cave. So this is your reminder. Your reminder.
Make those plans, as Nick mentioned last week. The last time he went there, he went to Cafe Olay. So maybe we can do the reverse now, and you can walk 5 minutes down the steps and into Fantasy Caves. Enjoy that experience. Work off those calories that you're going to eat once you go back up those steps to Cafe Olay.
And it's 88 steps, just for you.
It's 88 steps?
Yes,
Thank you, Michael.
Steps.
Thank you, Michael. So it's 88 steps. That's the year I was born, 1988.
For those that have the fitness trackers that are trying to like hit those 10,000 Ks or complete those circles, 88 steps you'll get from going down Crystal Caves and then coming back up. So that's 2 times. Yes. 88. And I know what that is right now. I can't remember. It's too early.
So it was originally owned by the Haycocks, and they discovered it they were actually burning some leaves. And instead of the smoke going up, they noticed that it was going down. So when they made a clearing, they realized there was a hole, and then they discovered Fantasy Caves. So when they first discovered it, they closed it down, and then they ended up selling it to the Wilkinsons. The Wilkinsons then reopened it in 2001. My favorite fact about being in Fantasy Caves.
Pause. Before we move on to the fun fact that you have, Jack, I do want to ask audience, if you've never been to Fantasy Caves, would you have imagined that story around a fire being found? Because with Crystal Caves, the story was the boys were playing cricket, they lost their cricket ball, and then they went on an adventure. But with Fantasy Caves, it's around not arson, but burning of leaves. Like it's around, us doing something to, I guess,
clearing the land.
Maybe they were clearing land. Like maybe they were doing something that they needed to do. Whereas with the Crystal Cave story, it's more recreational. So let us know in the comments if that story around the Fantasy Caves discovery interests you, and if you thought like, wait a minute, really? That's how they found it?
Well, that's absolutely the expression I had. I had to sit there. I'm like, burning leaves found a cave. Like, how does that even work? That's crazy to me. So that definitely shocked me. But I want to ask you, Terry, what was your favorite part once we got down to Fantasy Caves?
I would say my favorite part of Fantasy Caves was that it was smaller, so it felt more intimate. So you did feel like you could kind of see the stalactites and stalagmites, and you could kind of be a little bit more immersed in the cave. Whereas with Crystal Caves, because there's so much water like between some of the crystal formations, that I didn't really feel like I was in the cave experience. I know I was in the cave, I could see it. But in Fantasy Caves, it felt like, oh, this is like, I could come down here and like read a book, but it's hot. But I could come down here and like just experience, the cave. Versus with Crystal Caves, I felt like it was a little bit more open.
Yeah. But when you talk about it being hot, you think about, well, what's the humidity and stuff down there? So you find out that the humidity is 100% all year round, and it's 70 degrees. So taking a book down there and sitting off and reading isn't a bad idea when it comes to, trying to stay young and keep your pores nice and clear and nice and open. So
exactly. So we have a few questions and comments in the chat, Jack. The first question is, how big was the hole? This is the hole around and they were burning the leaves and they discovered Fantasy Caves. Do you remember how big the hole was? I personally don't.
I don't actually remember. I will have to hit somebody up and find out. He never actually mentioned that. Well, he didn't mention it to us, but that's actually a great question that we should have asked.
I don't think, it didn't come up in the conversation. And I guess because to preface this, when we did do our tour, there was a sinkhole like right on the pathway that the tour guide used to kind of tell this story or start telling the story. And so I think at the time that hole was really big, actually. That hole, I was like, no, thank you. Even though it's big enough for me to see like I can get back out, it's just the idea of a sinkhole, like it's a sinkhole. So even if I do go down, what's to stop me from not being able to come back up
Come
because
back
the
up.
sinkhole gets bigger. So we will definitely follow up to find out the actual size of that hole. And one thing that Kivane mentioned is that she didn't know that story around the discovery of Fantasy Cave. So we're happy that you learned something new here today. And we have one question from Nicholas Butterfield. Which cave did you like better between Fantasy or Crystal? So that's a question for you, Jack, because I feel like I already low-key just answered it.
So I was talking to somebody, and I definitely prefer Fantasy Caves over Crystal. I know that sounds bad because, you know, Crystal Caves is, you know, Fantasy falls under Crystal Caves. So you think that everybody wants to go and visit Crystal Caves, and that would be the favorite. But I like the little sister on the side. It's really cute. And when we were walking through, there are some formations that reminded me of elephants. Maybe it's just my imagination, but they look like elephants.
Definitely imagination, sis.
Really? You think so? Because when I pointed it out, a few of the other people said that it could possibly be an elephant.
We were trying to make you believe that we could see the elephant. We couldn't see the elephant.
You guys are such good friends.
We are the best.
But I want to say Fantasy Caves. I do like Fantasy Caves. It is smaller. It's made more intimate, but I just loved the formations down there. There was one formation down there that was called the Chandelier Formation. And I do have to say that's my favorite.
So this is actually the chandelier, right, Jack?
Yes. So this is actually the Chandelier Formation, and it's made of 4 formations. So it's stalactite, popcorn formation. If you look at the top, it kind of looks like popcorn stuck to the ceiling, but it's not actually a ceiling. But you know how you have the popcorn ceilings, if anybody knows about popcorn ceilings. But then you have the draperies and the flowstone. So when all of that is formed, it forms a chandelier formation. And they did say that this is probably the only place in Bermuda that this will be found, and probably the only place in the world. So that just made it even more enticing to me.
Exactly.
It's exclusive.
Exclusive to the island of Bermuda.
Yeah. Dun, dun. No, but as Nick asked, between Fantasy Caves and Crystal Caves, I do prefer Fantasy Caves. When we did the experience, we were able to split off into sections. So depending on your group, you were able to split off and go to either side or stand in the middle and take pictures and enjoy the scenery and stuff like that.
And we do have a comment here from Sean Smith Jack. He says that you've taught me something new. I did not know there was a cave called Fantasy Cave. I only knew about Crystal Cave. Yep, it's literally not even a 5-minute walk from Crystal Caves. Like if you do the experience, I recommend that you do the experience because you get the 2 tickets for both caves in one price versus doing individual tours for Crystal Caves one day and then Fantasy Caves the other day. Just make it an excursion. It takes maybe about 40 minutes, I think the first one took. And then the second one was probably not even 30 minutes. So it's probably like a 2-hour adventure in the afternoon. And it's definitely worth every penny because you get to learn like what Jackie's talking about today. We're going to go into a little bit more details around the fun facts for caves and just how they're formed and all of these different things. But it's definitely an experience that you want to re-experience as often as you can because we're here on the island. So we definitely recommend that if you haven't already booked your tickets or booked your tours, that you do so ASAP.
Absolutely. I do want to switch over to the rest of our day because we were able to, after we finished up with Ron and we finished up at Fantasy Caves and Crystal Caves, we decided to take a nice little walk over to Swizzle Inn. Terry, can you tell us about your experience at Swizzle? Actually, before we go in, I just want to ask everyone, because there's only one Swizzle now, and I just want to know, when's the last time you went to Swizzle down in the East? I don't frequent it very often because I'm from Somerset. But for those of you that are closer or like to take long drives, when's the last time you went to Swizzle Inn?
And had Swizzle. There's Swizzle.
And had Swizzle. Or it doesn't have to just be Swizzle. But yeah, when's the last time? But Terri, can you talk to us about your experience there?
It was very interesting to be back at Switzerland because I'm from East. So I've spent most of my life before I went overseas in the Eastern parishes, St. George's, St. David's, and Hamilton Parish, Bay, Kroll, whichever one you want to call it. And so I used to frequent Switzerland. Like I would walk to Switzerland, walk to Baylor's ice cream parlor and sit off, eat food with my mom, or just get some ice cream after just being bored. And so I think it was really interesting, obviously, with the restrictions around indoor dining and outdoor dining. Like that bit was a bit, that comes with the territory now. But overall, I think our waiter definitely paid really great attention. For me, I'm plant-based. And so when I was asking him questions around like, well, can I have this without cheese or can I do this without that? And he basically said like, you could, but it's not going to be the same meal. So, and then he offered the suggestion around like, maybe you want to do this instead. And so I really appreciated him actually trying to understand what it is that I want to do, because I do want to eat. Like I still want to eat food. I don't want to not eat. And so that was definitely a great thing for me, was just to feel like, okay, I'm included in the conversation. It was around the foodie conversation. Like he's not leaving me out. So that was really good. What about you?
I enjoyed it. I am still shocked at how much you eat.
Oh, well, there's that. But before we talk about how much food I ate, Nick says the last time he's been to Swizzle in East was probably over a year, and Shawnette Bell said the same. She said last year. And then we have Sheldon Jones, who said, I was there in March, ate up top outdoors and ran into a friend for the first time ever. And so that's one of the things, right? I don't know if we ran into anyone that we met. We did meet a character, but we didn't run into anyone that we, haven't seen in a while, but it was 4 of us. So, but it was definitely one of those things when you get out of your parish, did you rediscover things that you haven't seen in so long, thanks to lockdown and thanks to just, frequenting the West. And then we have a fun fact from Michael Anthony Musson. He says, parts of Fantasy Cave are under Bailey's and Swizzle Ian.
Oh.
And that goes to what we were talking about earlier around like the formation of caves, because they like there's a primary formation or the primary cave that is just like a stream of water that like exists underneath landmass, limestone for us. And then there's the collapse caves, which are the ones that we kind of have, where like the ceiling collapses down and then you get like this open air cave. And so that to me makes sense. Like I could see that. I don't remember if kind of went through that in great detail with us, but I could envision that having done the tour and just like thinking about where we walked, like we were absolutely underneath Bailey's or close to Bailey's.
And now I think about it, that's actually, I don't know if it's comforting or terrifying.
It's like a mix of both. 50-50.
Because of how it's all formed, right? And then, of course, you have the water that's rushing, so you have the erosion. So at what point does everything become a sinkhole? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's terrifying to me, but also very intriguing. Like,
Yeah. And then we do have an article that we're going to share with you if you want to like read more into it. If you're like the science guy or science gal that wants to kind of go deep dive into like all the science information, because I know when I read it, that's the first thing I thought, like, okay, so but where's like the end? So like, where is it going to like, what is the point at which the caves can't collapse anymore? I should be terrified. I should be scared. At what point is that? Because that's the point that I want to know. When I need to leave, or when I need to stop visiting a cave, or when I need to be a little bit more conscious around like, the formation. Because like that's one thing that I thought after we talked about this earlier today as well, was like, could there have been a moment? Will there be a moment? So let's go back to Bailey and Swizzle Jack, because you feel like I eat a lot. And Jamal says that my reaction at how shocked you were at how much I eat. He loves us. And I definitely say, we love you too, Jamal. And I have to say, that's it. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so we sit down, we order our drinks, and I got the Blue Lagoon. I'm super excited. And then he comes back to take our food order. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I know what I want. I got the shrimp and escargot medley, and then I ordered the ribs from off of the barbecue rack and some cornbread. And he's just like, you want a whole rack or a half rack? And I was just like, I'll take a whole rack. And he just looks at me and he's just like, it's big. But in my head, I'm like, everybody tells me it's always big. It's not going to be that much. I had 2 ribs. It was so much food. But the experience was so much fun. So it's definitely something to add to your day. So if you go Crystal Caves, if you go Fantasy Caves, it's definitely nice to just walk on over and pop on into Swizzle. If by chance you don't want to go up to Cafe Olay, you can slide over to Swizzle, have some drinks if you have time to kill, sit down with some friends and family and converse. And you can also talk about all the excitement from the caves and stuff. But let's go back to how much Terri eats. So, Terri, can you tell us exactly what you ordered? Because I'm still impressed. Like, we had chips and guac. Then we had...
So the menu has nachos. And so in my conversation with the waiter, I was like, well, can I just get nachos without, like, the cheese? Or can the cheese be on the side? Because I wanted to share. And he was like, well, it's melted cheese. And nah, not really. So I was like, he was like, well, you could do... chips and guac. I was like, all right, bet, let's do that. So we got the chips and guacamole, and then I got onion rings because, I was sharing with the table. And so I got onion rings and chips and guac to start, and then I got, what they had was a plant-based burger. It was a curry plant-based burger, which was absolutely wow. I forget the exact name of it, but it was a curry plant-based burger, the best thing on that menu, in my opinion. And so we're snacking. I'm eating my food, and then everything came out at the same time, which is great. And so I finished the burger, finished the fries. I had coleslaw with that, and I think the only thing I took home were the onion rings, because there were like 4 onion rings. They were large. They were really large onion rings. That was the only thing I took home. So yes, I ate everything besides the onion rings. I ate like 2 onion rings personally, and
I felt like an underachiever because I took home all my cornbread and all of my ribs, and it took me another day to finish it. And I'm like, I need to get my intake back up. I have to be like Terri, because there's no way I should be able to consume all of this.
Wait a minute. I need to ask the audience, what are your appetites like? What do you all feel is a big meal versus a small meal? Because I don't feel like that was a really big meal. I just feel like that was enough. I definitely feel like the onion rings may have taken me over, but I did mentally think that they were going to be a little bit smaller. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll be able to eat that. But let us know in the comments, like, what for you is a sizable meal? Like, if you were to go to any restaurant, be it Swizzle Inn, Cafe Olay, are you getting an appetizer and a main and a dessert? Or are you just getting like a really big main? Are you doing like a bunch of different appetizers to do like tapas style? Like, tell us in the comments how you order food when you eat out, because I really believed that was good. Like, that's how I order food, and that was it. I kind of feel bad thinking, well, not bad, but I'm reconsidering how I order food, because everyone else at the table only ordered like one thing.
I ordered 2 things. I said, I'm just impressed. I'm really impressed. Like, it's not even anything to feel guilty about or anything. Like, I want to be like that.
I don't know if that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is a good thing. I don't know if the way I order food like that is a good thing. We have a comment from Shanette Bell. She says she orders an appetizer and a main dessert. Oh, no, she says an appetizer and main and dessert will make her explode. Okay. So I am overachieving in the foodie area. I mean,
no, I'm proud of you. And that's my next girl. But I really enjoyed the experience. The waiter was amazing. He was very attentive. He constantly came to check on us, and then when it came to us finishing up, he made sure we had everything that we needed. So I do recommend going, and I do want to go back. So I don't know if anybody wants to have a date with me, but Terri and I want to go back. So you can come hang out with us and experience Switzerland with us for the second time. But I do want to switch over to our experience at Bailey's Ice Cream Parlor.
Before we do that, let's talk. We have 2 comments coming in around the question we asked the question that I asked, because I can't be the only one in the audience that overeats. So Shouted Jizz says 3 courses if he has time. Otherwise, he'll skip dessert. We're going to talk about dessert in a second, Sheldon. Kivane Hain says she does not eat out much, but when she did, she liked to have dessert. So main and dessert. So she would skip the appetizer. Okay, Kivane. Okay. So that's okay. Maybe I'm doing a little bit much. Sean Smith says, Terry, you humbly have a high metabolism rate. That's why you can eat so much. I used to be able to eat like that. So let me know, Sheldon, if I should consider slowing down and at what point I should consider slowing down, because I don't want to be overeating or excitedly no, because I have a high metabolism and then boom, it's gone.
I don't think that would ever happen to you because you walk everywhere. Like,
I do.
You're a walker. So I don't see, and you have to walk up hills and stuff. So I don't think your metabolism will ever slow down. I think you're good. Like, I need to start walking more and running more.
Let's talk about our walk over to Bailey's after I ate that really big meal. After everyone had their food, we decided to do dessert at Bailey's. Let's talk about that, Jack.
So I was still too full from Swizzle, but I was able to sit down. I was able to sit down and take in the scenery while everybody else got their ice cream. So I got to sit facing the street and people watch. I don't know how everybody else is, but you can let us know. I love to people watch. So you can let us know yes or no in the comments if you like to people watch. But I'm one of those people that likes to watch the traffic go up and down, maybe scream out to somebody that I don't know and hope they have a great day. But Terry, what ice cream did you get? What was your dessert?
Okay, first of all, I just want to go to this comment from Phil who says, dessert for what? Pay the bill and let's go to the next set. So Phil is an overeater like me. Thank you. I have someone in the group with me. Perfect. So I am plant-based. However, I still eat milk and dairy every once in a while. So ice cream is usually the thing that I will still eat. I don't really eat cheese like that. And so when she mentioned the non-dairy desserts, I was kind of like, I really want an ice cream. Like, I really want a Bailey's ice cream because, like I said, I used to live Kroll. Bailey's was like the thing I would do on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. Like, it was my thing. And so I got a mint chip ice cream. I was going to get a 2-scoop. And then when she put the first scoop on there, I was like, okay, let me slow down. Pause. Let's just do the 1 scoop. But I did do it on a regular cone. I didn't do a waffle cone. But that took me back. That was kind of nostalgic for me because Bailey's ice cream to me is the essence of Bay. For me, like, that's my Bay experience, was taking a walk, as Jackie mentioned, to the ice cream parlor, sitting off, people watching, and then walking back home. I think if they had like, so Ben and Jerry's have non-dairy ice cream, and So Delicious have non-dairy ice cream as well. If they had those options for me to enjoy, then I would have gotten one of those. But I think Bailey's makes their own ice creams. I can't remember if that's part of the story, but I do know that they have, to me, some of the best ice cream on the island. Maybe I'm biased because we just stay there.
It has been a while since I've had their ice cream because I can't do dairy. That option was taken away from me. But when you talk about Bailey's Bay experiences, my experience with Bailey's Bay is Carnegie.
Definitely Connie game. Let us know in the comments though if you have a favorite ice cream flavor, because I realized we talked about my ice cream that I got, but we didn't ask the audience what's their favorite ice cream flavor. So like, if you do a Bay experience and you go to Crystal Caves and Fantasy Caves, and then let's say this is your day, this is your Saturday, you go to Cafe Olé for breakfast, you go to Crystal Caves and Fantasy Caves after that. Like I said, it's about a 2-hour adventure, so you'll walk off your breakfast. By the time you finish up, it should be probably around lunchtime. You can go over to Swizzle, get a light lunch, and then go to Bailey's and get a dessert. What ice cream are you getting, and how many scoops of that ice cream are you getting? I did one because I overate apparently at Swizzle, but let us know your favorite ice cream flavor and how many scoops you would get if you went to Bailey's on your Bailey's Bay adventure. Sheldon Jones says he used to have a high metabolism, but now he has a high BMI. I don't know what my BMI is actually. Do you, Jack?
I don't know mine either, but now I want to know.
This is like when he said, now I want to know so I can compare the two or make a decision or ask my doctor to make a decision because I am not a medical person. I don't know
No, I want to know
having
now.
a high BMI would mean for me. Interesting. Jackie and I are going to take that offline and we are going to come back and let you guys know what our BMI is because now we are both pleasantly intrigued by what BMI is and what ours could be.
I feel like if I was to get an ice cream, it would have been either a rum and raisin or a pistachio.
See, I don't like raisin and ice cream. Like that to me does not.
It doesn't entice you? I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to eat out of my dad's bill. I'm like, Dad, what you eating? Let me try. And
it was rum and raisin.
It was always rum and raisin.
I wonder how much rum is in rum and raisin.
Probably not enough. You can always.
I would hope not. They sell it in the grocery store.
Oh,
like
wow.
in the aisle where kids pick up ice cream. Like I would hope it's marginal.
Yes, definitely.
And you said pistachio.
It's so good.
I have never had pistachio ice cream flavor before.
Adds to list.
Nope, I haven't. Sean Smith says he would do a chocolate ripple with hot chocolate poured over top. Sean Smith is a chocolate fan. We love chocolate fans over here. I love chocolate fans personally.
That sounds good. That sounds very yummy.
Milk chocolate or dark chocolate? I feel like they would probably do it as like I feel like chocolate. They do but I feel like they do milk. Like I feel like that's the way the like hot chocolate syrups are made. But I feel like if it was dark chocolate, that would be like top tier. Like that would be next level ice cream. Yep. Just thinking of things, thinking of desserts I can make for myself. Let us know in the comments what your favorite ice cream flavor is, because Jackie and I are quickly going to be wrapping up this episode of Good Day Bermuda. If you're just joining us, if you've been sitting in the background wondering what we've been talking about, today we revisited Crystal Caves and we shared some information around caves that Jackie and I found during our tour of Crystal Caves and Fantasy Caves. We didn't touch too much on Leamington Caves because we didn't get to experience that. And I think it's now a private estate. However, we did have some people in the audience last week mention that they had experienced Leamington Caves before. Yeah, swimming in Leamington Caves before it was kind of closed down or closed back to a private owner. And I think there was another fun fact that I saw in that article you sent, Jack, around Admiral's Cave. That was interesting. Yeah. That was interesting to me to find out that there was actually another potential cave on the island that I probably haven't experienced, and that most of the caves are around Harrington Sound, like they're in that vicinity. I mean, like
Leamington Caves actually connects to Harrington Sound, so
that to me is interesting because how caves are created, the story around that. Do make sure if you're not already following us on Twitter that you follow us on Twitter, because that's where we're going to be reposting all of this information for you to enjoy. We appreciate you joining us on this episode of Good Day Bermuda. Before we get up out of here, Jack, what is our feel-good vibe of the day?
It's a joke. No?
Okay, I'm ready.
What does a house wear?
Wait, what? What does the house wear?
What does a house wear?
What? I don't know. I'm confused.
A dress.
I was going to say something about a roof. You did get me. That's all for today's episode of Good Day Bermuda. Do make sure you stick around at 8 a.m. I was going to say p.m. Make sure you stick around at 8 a.m. because on the Daily Hour, Lana Young is going to be having a conversation with Jamal and Michaela Ian. We do hope that today's good vibe did bring you some joy and laughter. Even if you didn't find the joke funny, still let us know in the comments. I'm Terri Too Cool alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.